today is go up on the roof day and fix this vent. I've never done this before. I am slightly nervous. And this roof is kind of steep, but I don't know how I'm going to record this as I'm doing this, but basically I just need to get this vent out of there and replace it with the new tube that I have. The tube that I got was longer. According to code, this vent part, the very end, has to be at least about as high or higher than the top of the roof there. And that's just because in case the wind comes over and curls over and pushes the gas back down, that's usually the case when the wind blows this way. So I have to have this pipe a lot longer. I'll get pretty darn close to the top of that level right there. So I've watched videos on how to do this. So basically you just pry this up. I mean, it's under, this plate is under all the shingles, and they just kind of slide it in and then tack it down with a couple nails. I noticed that they tacked down a couple nails on this part, on this other tube. This is a vent for the bathroom, and I'll have to get a little cap for this, but I ain't a roofer, but that looks like a no-no to me. Kind of defeats the purpose when you nail nails on top of there like that. But so I have a new one of these things. It's going to slide right in there where this was, and I'm not going to worry too much about replacing these shingles yet, maybe down the road, but I just wanted to slide it in there and get it, just kind of sneak it in there without destroying too much and without having to redo anything, and just slide the tube in there. Hopefully it'll be as easy as that. This was definitely needing replacement. That thing was rusting off. This is bad condition as well. I'll have to get some sealant around that once I do have some new roof stuff that I could put on there. Make sure it's sealed. But look at that, that's just... The other thing about the code is that the code calls for a double-walled pipe, and that's why I had to get it Lowe's, because it's touching the sides there on the next to the wood, and it gets hot, so it has potential to get really hot and burn. So they probably switched to electric water heater just because of this code thing. So I went and pulled on it. It looks like it's going to just slide out of there, and that just goes right through insulation, and that's where the bathroom was, or down in the bathroom. So this should be pretty simple. I was hoping that it would be that simple, and it is. It's great. So I'll just slide the new one down into the ceiling of the bathroom down there, and this should be good. So I got the new one in here. I'm just going to slide it in, and I'll tack it in, get these shingles down the best I can. My step-grandfather has some extra shingles laying around. I could probably just put in there, replace that, make it better, and then I'll seal it around. Well, actually I'll put the tube in from the ceiling down there, gonna stick it through there, and then I have a collar that I'm gonna put around that, and then seal it around, put a little cap on it. That should be it. I mean, I don't think it's any more difficult than that. So check this out. That's all it is, just going through the insulation up to the roof. In my imagination, I didn't know what it was doing, how it was attached or anything, but that's a miracle. I call everything a miracle because it's true, and I do a lot of praying, honestly, so that things could go smoothly, things will work for me. You know those times that you feel that everything's against you, and it's just all the elements, and you just feel like you're not getting anything done. all these setbacks and everything, I always feel that just pray a little bit, it'll help you out. So I think that's fantastic. This is the thing I was dreading the most, trying to figure that out. So I'll call that a miracle and a blessing. We'll see a lot of that in this house, I'm sure. Alright, so I guess I'll probably have to cut a little bit off of that roof up there. There's a little lip. I don't know if you can see that, but it's maybe cut that off a little bit and then should slide up there. I also pray for safety when I'm doing stuff like this. I'll just do it with my trusty Sawzall. Not that far, I had to work it in a little bit, but I had a good fit there. And now I just need to put this cap on and this collar on first, all the way down here. I'll probably seal it around the top there, but it gives a pretty good seal out by itself. Let's put the cap on, and then I have this stuff. It's for roofs. It's like a rubbery, sticky stuff, tar type stuff, and I'll just put it around wherever I feel like it needs it. It actually may not. I'll probably just replace some of those shingles, but I just feel better putting something down there. I'll show you real quick that this stuff is basically, it's kind of like a rubbery tar type thing. You take the paper part backing off of it, and it has this tar type stuff. When it gets hot, it just gets soft and just seals everything up. So I'm using this to put in place of these shingles that broke. Eventually I'm going to replace those shingles, but I'm going to put this down for sure. I might even leave it down and then put shingles on top of it, but this is feels better to put this on there too. There it is. Boom. You can see it gets pretty close to the top there. So that's pretty close to the tippy top of that roof there. Okay, I'm going to hook up the gas for my water heater. And basically to turn off the gas, you have to go to the meter outside. Sometimes the shut-off valve is on the intake. Sometimes it's on the outtake. So this one's on the intake, and I'll just if this valve is, or this little the valve handle thing, if it's parallel with the pipe, that means it's free flowing. That's on. And if it's parallel, or if it's perpendicular from the pipeline, then it's off. And this is so they could padlock it shut in case I can't pay the power bill or whatever. This water heater is going to be in a semi-permanent place. This is where it's going to be in the future, but I put it here, and I got this long flexible hose for the gas, and I got a flexible hose for the vent as well, just so I have the ability to shift it around when I get a permanent place for it later. But this is the gas line from the previous water heater that they had years ago. There's still gas that can supply it there, so I'm just going to tap into that and just connect into that. I bought this at Lowe's. I mean, it's just common gas hose, and it has some adapters on it. And then the lines for water were already laid out for the bathroom. The old water heater was over here, sitting in there. That was the electric one, hooked up to the electrical box. And these two water lines just went straight up into it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using those two lines, I'm just going to use this side over here to where it went into a sink, and it should be the same. I looked at it, and the water flow and everything is going to be the same. So there was the red hot and blue cold pipes, and I'll just run those up into the top and then just cap off those other two that were going into the old one. So that should work, and I'll just cap off the rest of them. And this is the last step, really, and I'll finally have hot water. I'll be able to put in a temporary shower and then hook up the toilet, which I've been living without that for more than 3 months. So this will be a great relief and another step up for living. So for the threads to hook up this gas in there, a lot of times people use this Teflon tape for water lines, stuff like that. I could probably use some of that for that. But to really seal it, this is pipe thread sealant for natural gas and a variety of fluids. So I'll just put that on the threads, thread it in, and it should seal it up. So I'll just tell you that at first I was a little intimidated by this task because I'm working with the gas lines and stuff. But essentially it's just turning off the gas, getting the right fittings, and then sealing it with this. That's pretty much all there is to this. So if you're ever thinking of doing your own job here, you can do it. Just in case you're curious about this PEX pipe stuff and how it connects and crimps on there, I'll just do one for you. I borrowed this crimper from a friend. Just has these rings made of metal, kind of a squishy metal. It might be copper actually. This crimper is just the right size, just a little bit smaller than this ring. When you squish it down, it just kind of compresses over the pipe. Pretty simple and cool how it does that, but these little connections in these rings are kind of pricey. But the PEX pipe itself is pretty cheap. But I think it's worth it because it's plastic and it expands if it freezes, and it's not prone to corrosion. Alright, I turned the gas back on. And I was filling up this tank, but I don't think this sealant is cured yet, so I need to wait on that for the hot water. But I could turn this on. I filled it up maybe halfway. There you go. It's alive. And it's very, I don't know how to describe that, but you know the feeling when something comes alive. It's almost like coming back from the dead or a baby being born. So I turned on the cold. It should be filling up pretty soon. And then the hot water line is going to fill up. Now that I've got the water heater hooked up, I have to finish this part up in this laundry room / bathroom. So I have, for the washer I have to do a hot and cold. For this little sink I have to do a hot and cold. And then the cold is already going to the bathroom, or toilet, sorry. And so I just have to tap into the cold there, put in some valves for each of them, put in a couple drains. I'll do those later, but I just needed to get at least those hooked up with the valves on it, and then I'll redo this toilet hookup here. I wanted to take this toilet off and redo that seal part because I just remembered I wanted to seal where I cut out of the hole. I wanted to put something in there, some sealant or something, because I've always seen over time if it backs up or something, it kind of trickle out and it trickles onto the ground or the floor and gets into the wood and just rots it out, and it just is horrible. So I wanted to put some kind of seal under there. I might even use that old wax seal and put it under it instead to keep the bottom part of that flange sealed as well. And then I have a new seal that I'm going to put on top of it. So that's going to help me feel better about this from all the leaks that could happen. So that should be it. Once I get that finished, I'm going to double check, triple check all the pipes, all the seals, everything, all the way down to the sewer pipe and all the way down to the drain, and just double check, triple check. And then I'll turn the water on and then just go around and look for leaks or anything that I may have missed. This has been a long time coming, getting this going. I know on these videos you don't see the time that's in between, all the frustration and the having to live without this stuff and figuring out what to do, how to wash up afterwards when you get dirty and sweaty and stuff. And it's kind of annoying, but I feel blessed to have this. So regardless, I'm really happy, and I'll just be even happier when this is set up. This is a monumentous occasion I want to share with you in this moment. My toilet is hooked up. I redid the flange thing, turned on the water, and it filled up. So that part works. So you'll get to experience, along with me, the first flush. I'm nervous. So this is the first time I've ever done a toilet really at all, and let alone a new sewer pipe and laying it all in, installing it all in there. But I went through it over and over, and I guess you'll live and learn, I guess, with whatever happens. I'm still nervous because I'm thinking that it's going to be, because there's chances they could go down the sewer line. I know it's clear all the way to the city sewer line. I don't know if over time debris has gotten in there and built up and it's rusted or something's in there and it's just going to back up on me, and then it's going to be a whole new problem. But this is fresh water, and this is a unused, well, it's a clean toilet, so, and all the sewer line is clean as well, so it's not like it's going to be totally full-on sewage other than the stuff that's already in there down the bottom. So those are the things that run through my head. But I went through the house and nothing is leaking so far in the cold line. I haven't tried the hot yet because I have to turn on the gas in order for that to activate. So, and then I'll be able to get the sink going. That's all hooked up with drains and everything. So that's gonna be a huge uplift in my life. So I got all the hookups on the water heater and the gas, so I'm waiting for that sealant to cure on there. So the water goes up, the cold water goes all the way up until the valve there. I haven't opened up the tank and let it fill up yet. I'm gonna wait on that a little bit. So as far as I know, I'm hesitating because I'm just trying to run through everything first. But I guess I forgot about the monumentous moment. So I guess we live and learn if things go wrong, right? Oh, it's nerve-wracking. I could hear it running. Let me just go in the dungeon and listen. No leaks yet. And it seemed like it all went downhill like it was supposed to. And I don't see any obvious places where it's going to leak. So I'll do some more flushes, and I'm just going to listen for this. I'm going to listen for this pipe right here to see if it's going all the way through all the time. Because if I start hearing it fill up, then that's when I'm going to stop flushing and figure out what to do. I do have a snake thing that goes through the pipes, so I'll be able to go through and maybe clear out something down there. I always try to do everything on my own as much as I can before I call any professional help. Let me try this again. Looks like it filled up the P-trap, so it's filling that part in. That's normal, I guess. Yep, that sounds like a toilet. And it's filling up. Anyway, I'll keep testing the water system and the toilet until I feel good about it, confident. But that's it. Thanks for sharing in this moment with me. There's a cold water so far. Wow. You never know what you take for granted until you don't have it, right? But this will be up and running pretty soon, I think. Much gratitude in my heart, that's for sure. Dang. I am going to have to do these seals over again. I kind of thought I was going to have to do that. I'm going to have to torch these tops off there. Never done this before, never done copper pipe before either. A lot of my training's from YouTube, so if I can do it, you can do it. So I torched this one. I was able to get the rod out of there. It took about a minute or two of heating this whole thing up. I was able to pull that out. I did forget about this little plastic valve here. I almost destroyed it. So on this one I'm gonna just detach it from up here. Basically I just torched this side for a while, then the back side for a while. This one took about 30 seconds. It wasn't as long as the other one, but I just kind of worked it way off. It's the first time doing that with copper pipe. So I have extra solder. This is just for plumbing. They have electrical solder and also this type of solder for plumbing. So when I get it back on, I'm going to torch it just from the top side over here, and this is where most of the heat's going to go, on the upper corner. And then when I feed it, when it gets hot enough, I'll feed it from here, and then it'll just suck it up to the hottest point, so I know that it's going to get an all-around seal. It'll just suck it up. That's what I've seen on TV. I think when I squirted on this sealant before, I had the just the watery upper part up here. It wasn't quite mixed all around in there, and I just kind of put like a watery coat on there. So I mixed it up so it's thicker. I think that was a big part of it. And so I put some Teflon tape on there, and I'm going to put just a little bit of this on the upper part. So I'll just wrap around there, and it'll have kind of a double seal reassurance on it. Got the solder back on. I'm not the best, but this is, I'm learning. I'll learn a little bit more as I go, and I get better at it. I'm actually a lot more confident now. We'll see if it holds water. If not, I'll just do it again. But I feel a lot better about these seals right there. It was leaking just a little bit, so I feel a ton better about that. Other than that, my job on sealing those connections worked, and all the rest of the connections are working. So this should be the last thing to worry about, and I could probably go ahead and just turn the water back on and test it. Okay, all hooked up, no leaks. Fire on, up and running. I did have trouble with this one. All I'm doing right now is trying to get this up and running. That's all I'm worried about right now. And we got warm water. Yeah, it's getting nice and hot. I do have one or two leaks in key places, like under the sink. This old sink is leaking right in the center there. And there is another leak in a valve there. That's a used one, so I'll probably replace that. Other than that, I'm just gonna let it run. They're just small leaks for now. I'm just excited to get some warm water going. I'll put up a temporary shower, and this is gonna be a huge change right now. So I think now that I can relax about survival for now, I got the main stuff going. I could start working on upgrading, cleaning up, getting this thing
getting this house really stylized. It'll be a simple style, and I'm going to put a concrete countertop here, and I'm going to do some more things here.